I'm a pretty horse. No, I'm a pretty horse. No, you're a fucking bastard. That's all you are. Oh, hello. I was just playing with my well, never mind. You must be here for Bite Me the Movie. Jeez, that was awkward. But stop it. You know if you're in pain, the safe word's banana. Anyways, you're here to see the making of Bite Me. How it happened? I don't even know, and I'm the director. As a director, I felt that I could experiment with any type of drug I wanted. Heroin was my #1 choice. So it's mostly a blur, and the movie got finished in about a week. So I hope you enjoy. Here's the tale. Stop it! Enjoy. We saw how many other independent movies were out there, and we felt that we could make a pretty shitty movie for really cheap, and it would sell. So now all we needed was a really shitty idea, which was good because we knew Jeff.
So Chris says we need a shitty idea, and I call Jeff. He comes up with this great idea, but it's going to cost too much money. So I say shittier. He comes up with a shittier idea, but still going to cost too much money. I say, Jeff, you need to come up with the shittiest idea you've ever come up with. And he does. And it's so shitty, I swear I had to go to the bathroom and throw up.
All over his face. Ain't that right, Jeff?
It was a mess. But still, cost too much money. I say, Jeff, gotta take a break. Gotta get really shitty.
So I was pretty much out of shitty ideas, and I was really just about to give up on the whole thing until it happened. There I was dreaming. I knew I was dreaming because my boss had invited all of us to come up to his cabin, and he invited my brother along. And the whole time there I am trying to like avoid my brother who got turned into a vampire and trying to keep him from biting people and not letting my boss find out. And the whole time I was naked, so it was just horrible. It was the worst nightmare I've ever had.
So I was woken up in the middle of the night and I had this huge raging erection. And it turned out Jeff was on the other end of the phone. And he's had this horrible nightmare. He's bawling. I can barely make out anything he has to say in the phone. But in the midst of this is a beautiful piece of shit, biggest bowel movement you've ever heard in your life kind of story. I immediately knew it was Hollywood gold. I had to call Chris.
5 a.m. rolls around. I'm passed out at the bar once again. And I get a phone call. I wake up. It's Sean. And he's going on about this story. And I'm hearing it. It's just amazing. I mean, let me just say, Act 1, raging boner. Act 2, raging boner. You get to the climax, Act 3, raging boner eruption. That's gold. How has that not been done before?
So Chris is sold on the idea. My next thing to do is to give Jeff a call. So I pick up my phone, I dial it, I wait for it to ring, and I tell Jeff, Chris is sold on it. We gotta get moving.
I had just fallen back asleep, and suddenly my phone starts ringing again, and it's Sean. He's calling me back. He tells me that he's talked to Chris, and Chris loves the idea, and he says it's a go. So, what else am I going to do? I decide to call Tom.
So it's around 5 o'clock in the morning, a little after, and I get this phone call. It's Jeff. I have no idea what he's calling about. I pick up the phone, and he's talking about some movie. I'm like, what the hell is this about? You know, it's 5 in the morning, why are you calling me? Then I realize I got other issues. I have boobs. Don't know why. Don't know how it happened. Look over in bed, I see Sean. I realize I'm in Sean's room. I had no recollection of this whatsoever. I end up just running out of the room scared for my life. Later he told me we were playing some game called Just the Tip or something like that. I'm not really sure what it was. He told me I was good at it, but you know, I don't really remember how to play it. So I'm not sure what happened that night. Anyways, just kind of disappointed I left. Later on, Jeff calls me again, tries to tell me about the movie idea, and I find out it's about vampires. I'm like, okay, that sounds okay. Chris calls me later. He's like, hey, look, I got this great idea. It's brilliant. It's a movie we're calling Raging Boner. It's going to be the best movie ever. I'm like, what the hell is that about? I'm like, okay. So I have no idea what the movie is. They said we're having a writer's meeting at Jeff's. So I walk into Jeff's. Don't know what to expect. What I find is Jeff and Chris are arguing about the movie. They have pictures drawn. Chris is holding up a penis. Jeff is holding up something that resembles a vampire, I'm not really sure, and they're just going at it. I walk in the room, and all chaos is breaking out. Sean's walking back and forth. He's just got an erection. He's just running back and forth doing this little shimmy thing. I don't know what that's about. I walk in. I turn around and walk out. I don't want any part of this. I didn't know what's going on. Let them settle their differences. They start fighting. I didn't want any part of it.
And that's pretty much how the first writers' meeting went.
A few days later, we decided to put it to a vote. All four of us got together. We did a little secret ballot thing, you know, put our vote in a hat so no one would know who was voting what. It was a very close vote, but we ended up going with a vampire movie. Chris was dismayed.
No!
Now that we had an idea we were going to do a vampire movie and not a raging boner movie, we had to come up with some characters.
We wanted some comedy in there as well. And to be a comedy, it's always good to have strong, rememberable characters.
A good horror movie has a high body count.
So we came to the agreement we needed lots of characters.
AC, it's just initials. Need something stronger, a little more masculine.
AC is a closet geek who does something that I think a lot of people do. When he's at work, away from the people who know him, he puts on this alter ego of the cool guy that everybody likes. As the movie progresses and vampires turn up, we get to see AC struggle between trying to hide his geekiness while still making sure that his coworkers don't die.
The character of AC was probably the most difficult to cast because we need someone who can act, but also we needed someone who could take the role and go in the physical direction because he needed to be able to do the fight scenes and the stunts that were required for that role. So finding someone who could pull off both those was fairly difficult.
So when we're doing our auditions, we come across a young man named Eric Pierce that we eventually casted as AC, and when we were looking at him, we weren't quite sure if he would sell the hero look until the production assistant who was filming the interviews said that she would do him for almost close to free.
And I liked Eric so much, I wanted him to be in as every character in the movie. We actually had him read for every character, and I thought he should be every character, including the girls. He was that good.
Nick, good, sturdy, strong, queer name.
Nick is a dork. He's a really big geek. He's into Dungeons and Dragons and monsters, all that kind of stuff, and he pretty much has no social life. And that's about it. That's Nick for you. We
really didn't write anything down. We were just like, we need a geeky character. Who should it be? Then John Clamp walks in. He walks in, he's holding this stick. You know, he's got this big stick in his hand. It's just whoosh, 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 screaming out. He's fighting this dragon. I don't know what he's doing in there. It was entertaining, though, I have to admit. We liked what he was doing.
Damn it, dragon! You made me bleed! You'll pay!
There's good stuff there. So we included that in the role because of John. He actually inspired that character. I mean, later on we're doing read-throughs and stuff. People wonder, hey, where's John at? He turns out he's behind my house in the woods, once again, playing with imaginary dragons. This is what this guy does. I mean, that is him.
I'm really not like Nick at all.
That is John. John is Nick. Bottom line.
Why are we looking for blood? It makes me feel all vomity, and not in the good way. Like when you're trying to lose weight.
Originally in my dream, in addition to being naked and trying to avoid my boss and my brother and vampires, I was always having this girl that I worked with that was just chasing me around and hitting on me everywhere that I went. And I really, really wanted to get that in this movie, but Chris and Sean just kind of laughed at me about it. And we ended up having a compromise, and we decided to split that character into two. So now the main character was chasing a girl, but was also being chased by a girl at the same time.
Autumn is very shy, very unpopular.
Veronica is, are we allowed to swear? She's kind of bitchy.
And that's where the characters of Veronica and Autumn came from.
Oh, John, fuck me in the ass, please!
Writing and casting the character Drake was pretty easy because, well, I knew the guy. And that's how we got Chris Wood to do the part.
Drake, what can you say about Drake that can't be summed up in only one word? Asshole.
That's how he is in real life. He's a prick.
Wait, there's another black person out there?
No, a raccoon, you racist bitch!
The idea for Renee was to be an aerobic instructor part-time and kind of ditzy. That's all we had. It was actually based off of Chris Smith, the director, because he actually, he doesn't do aerobics, but he does yoga part-time. And that was his actual leotard that was used. I don't think Beth knew of it. She was actually using his leotard in the movie. He never watched the thing either, so. But he's been doing that for about 10 years as a part-time yoga instructor.
Actually, it's Pilates.
Oh, Pilates? You sure? It is. Does Pilates, really? It's even gayer than yoga. Yes. There was something fruity about him.
I'm like the nicest guy you know. I'm like OJ.
Greg was just this blank guy. It was nothing. Then we decided to make him black. And after making him black, we decided, hey, he's got to be more than just a stereotypical black guy. He's got to actually have some depth to him. He's actually smarter, figures things out quicker than most of the other cast members.
And the little clips they put on 10 days, assholes!
And of course we come up with all the regular stereotypes, you know, the ditzy blonde, the token black guy, the reluctant hero. But then we decided to do something and get a little bit more in depth, and that's when we came up with the character of Scott.
Looks like everything's turning up, Scott.
We wanted a guy that, you know, he always had a positive outlook on things. And then on the flip side, when he got turned into a vampire, we wanted him to really crack because he realizes, hey, it's been horrible my whole life. Everyone takes advantage of me. Everyone pushes me around.
Guess you didn't know me so well.
So we needed this guy to really just crack and become evil and demented.
Well, that kind of made it difficult to cast the character of Scott. But then we had a young man by the name of Drew Smith, and he was the first person we done that really got just both sides of that role. He was able to do the happy-go-lucky and just fun-loving, and he was also able to just crack and turn utterly sinister, just really right on a dime. And that impressed us.
Autumn, Peterson is scared. Hold me.
Originally, when we were coming up with names for the characters, I just threw out for one of the characters the name Peterson. And Tom really liked that name. He liked it so much that he realized that that name had to be said constantly. That name had to be all over the movie. Peterson, 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 Peterson. Because when you got a name like Peterson, you know, you gotta say it. It's just so cool.
Peterson, 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 Peterson. What does Scott want with Peterson? Peterson doesn't swing that way, Scott.
This is Peterson.
All that we had initially for it was him to talk in the third person. Chris actually said, hey, why don't we get our good buddy Title 11, attorney at law, to play the part of him? Because he's good at saying his name. He doesn't necessarily refer to himself in the third person, but he likes to say his name a lot. I'm Title 11, I'm attorney Title 11, this is Title 11. Stuff like that. He says that repeatedly. If you watch a Title 11 show, which is on the DVD, there's 2 episodes on it, go ahead and watch it, you'll see what I mean. And we meet him, we show him the role of it, and he's like, oh, this is great, I love it. I want to add my favorite word to it. We're like, what's your favorite word?
Fuck. Fuck! Fuck, fucking. No shit, fuckface. You fucking, what the fuck is wrong with you? Fucking, fuck. Peterson's not putting up with that shit anymore. Fuck! You fucking bit me, that cocksucker! The fuck is wrong with him? I'm fucking bit! God damn it!
Fucking Peterson! Don't you find the cigar's aroma to be similar to that of a Japanese schoolgirl's freshly soiled panties?
Smoking Joe is actually inspired by my uncle, for one, because he has this habit of ashing all over the place with the cigars and not even knowing it. I mean, he'll ash in someone's, drink. Won't even know. It's completely absentmindedly ash in someone's food. He actually does this in real life, so that's one of the character traits of Joe. And then also I took his partner, Mike, who likes to travel, is like a world-renowned traveler, goes all over the world.
And did I ever tell you about the time I went looking for cigars in Thailand and got caught on a sex tour?
Travels constantly, so those were the 2 character traits that we had for Joe.
When we were auditioning Daryl Trieger for the role of Smokin' Joe, he sat back and did this voice that sounded like he's had emphysema for the past 50 years. And we were all under the table laughing, trying not to trip him up in the audition, and it was just beautiful.
I didn't sign up for a gangbang, but I'm down.
The character of Colleen, basically we really didn't have much. We're kind of running out of ideas at this point because we were using it for a body count. So someone came up with the idea, I'm not sure who. Let's make her a whore.
Queers? You're queers. Great, queers. I love queers.
So we start writing the movie, we're coming up with all the different characters, and it's still bothering me now that we're making a vampire movie, when at first I was assured we were filming a movie about a raging boner. So I needed it in there. And that's when the character of the Bruce came to mind.
So we made his character, Bruce, the raging boner. And the inspiration for me was actually Sean.
Does he bend over more?
No. Wow, Sean.
Because basically throughout this whole process, that's what he was. He was a raging boner. He walked around with a raging boner. He acted like a raging boner. He was a raging boner. So that's where we got the character Bruce is. He likes to grab people. It's a fun thing to do. That's what he likes to do. I got no problems with it, but sometimes he touches you inappropriately. Hey, what can you do? But, we dealt with it. That is Sean, and that is Bruce.
The role of Bruce was a lot of fun for me because he is a human resource nightmare. He's everything you want your boss to be now, but can't anymore. That was a boss in the 80s. You know, he's the ass-grabbing, you know, sexual harassment style boss, and they just don't make him like that anymore.
That is Sean, and that is Bruce.
Yeah, the Bruce, Sean.
It was totally Sean.
So there, Little Red Riding Hood, looking through the woods for your breadcrumbs because there ain't no porridge at home?
We need some goon, some thug type to kind of be the enemy for AC on that. And I always like the idea of guys that can't go past their glory days in high school. You know, they go around rocking their high school letter jacket, showing off what they used to be.
48-yard line, no time left on the clock.
They can't get past that.
Me and Tom have always loved the idea of people wearing their letter jackets years after high school.
Sandbox, are you still wearing your letter jacket?
In fact, a couple of years ago, Tom found a guy wearing a 1985 Northville High letter jacket at the movies he went to once. I said, you know what, let's beat that. 1983. And then we can wear it after the movie.
That's essentially where the idea of Sandbox came from.
And that's when we all figured we should put this movie in the 80s.
Part of my reasoning for wanting to be set in the 80s, because if you look around now, you see a bunch of 80s fashion is coming back, and it's horrendous. I mean, it's just horrible.
And so, now we had to rework some things.
Wow, that was totally awesome!
Basically, in the 80s, a couple things you need from some side characters to add depth to the movie, we thought. You need a guy that throws towels at people after they do double spins. We call him Chuck.
Thanks, Chuck.
We also, because this was very common in the 80s, as everyone that lived through the 80s knows, guys needing their chest signed.
You got time for an autograph?
Blow-up dolls were huge in the 80s. I mean, those were the things. Those were actual people's girlfriends back then. So, we needed one of those in there. That was clear. We asked John. He's like, oh, I got one. He's like, I'll bring it on. Her name's Eva. So we all met Eva. We had a great time with her. She's very popular. I think we got some photos showing right now of us and the crew all together hanging out with Eva. Lovely lady. Kind of odd hair, kind of boyish, I thought. She did an alright job, I thought. And John and her were already comfortable with each other, so they worked great in the scene.
We needed locations. Didn't care what they were. We just needed them. Places. Could be where we're all meeting up with the cast in the parking lot. There, we shoot the scene. That's how it works. That's how Ed Wood did it. That's how we do it. We need locations. In a movie like this, you usually need locations. Movies always need locations 70% of the time.
Point Me ended up being very location intensive. And we needed locations to secure. The only problem was we're filming a horror movie with a lot of blood and weapons, and the people that were going to run us the location started getting really uneasy, and a few dropped out on us. So we decided to go ahead and just kind of not tell about what the whole movie was.
So I just told everyone that it was a porno.
It became a romantic comedy that took place in the 80s.
So the locations for the movie ended up being a large cabin up in Luther, Michigan.
It was half of the movie in 3 days.
There was also a small cabin in Mile, Michigan.
Wouldn't have been so bad had we not had 3 feet of snow while we were trying to leave.
We did a bar shoot in Dearborn.
The bar scenes were supposed to take place 20 years later, but we'll get to that later.
Apartment, which is actually Jeff's apartment.
Shooting in my apartment was pretty fun.
Ambulance. We had an ambulance too. It was really cool. We also used that for a hospital scene as well.
Superior Ambulance Company was gracious enough not only to loan us one of their ambulances to shoot in, they also gave us an EMT to pull out the stretcher that the Bruce was laying on, and they even let us use their training room as a mock hospital room. So shout out to Superior Ambulance Company. Thank you very much.
We had to find a 1980s-esque office, so we found one of those out in Novi. A really corny place to shoot.
Bill McAllister with his shirt off.
One of our locations for the final fight scene was the world-renowned Leland City Club.
We don't talk about the City Club.
A beautiful place. If everyone's ever been there, you know about it. I don't need to say much more about it. Let's just say that. Okay, we also shot in the woods at Hines Park because we needed, obviously, a wood location to interconnect between the large cabin and small cabin since they're completely different locations. And then, of course, we had the hot tub scene.
But the hot tub scene, by far, I'm going to let it be known now that I did not direct this whole movie. There is one scene that I did not direct, and one scene that... It's the hot tub scene.
It was more like just a bathtub with a jet.
Our initial idea for the hot tub scene was to get as many of the women that we wrote into the script into the hot tub. You know, just jam them in, preferably new.
Yeah, that was a really good idea when we thought of it. And it was just this... It was this great idea, and every one of us loved it, especially after we'd cast the girls. We had some amazingly beautiful girls on this set. And we were originally going to have a nude hot tub scene, but we didn't really tell any of the girls that that was our idea.
But as we're planning it out, you know, I was getting all excited about this, and I was thinking, hey, if they don't want to do it, we'll just try to talk them in, ease them into it, make them comfortable. Do stuff like that. I was going out in the bars practicing like groping women and stuff like that, just for the movie's sake. I was doing it just for the movie. It's not something I do, but I did it for the movie. We also had the backup idea of having bikinis in there, just in case.
And we kind of came to a compromise, so that's kind of where we went. And we just had them in there, you know, pillow fighting and splashing and just having all kinds of fun. And it was a great, great, good time, and it was just this wonderful idea. And Sean had his own idea.
Oh, guys!
Everyone wait, everyone wait. I'm over at Sean's, and if you're watching this video, the dramatic reenactment right now, you might be wondering, hey, why am I dressed in a Hooters girl outfit still? Well, I ended up getting a job there. I mean, it's pretty easy. They're equal opportunity employers, so it wasn't hard. I already had the outfit. Why not? We're discussing the hot tub scene, you know, going over it, some ideas he had for it. I then spot him in a Speedo when he was a young kid. I was like, hey, Sean, you got that Speedo? He's like, Tom, of course I have that Speedo. I'm so elated. I start dancing over there. And usually I don't dance. I mean, there's three things I don't do. I don't tan, I don't sing, and I don't dance in public. But since this wasn't really in public, I mean, it's more of a private dance because it was in Sean's room. So it's like a private dance for Sean. So I had no problem dancing, and I was really excited. So I grab a Speedo, I rub my big boobs, and I throw it over to Sean. And I'm like, hey, this is what we got to do. We got to put you in a Speedo, and we got to shoot this scene. We're going to really work together on this. It's going to be great. It's like, Tom, I'm feeling your vibe. You got good ideas. We're going to have to tell Chris is not directing this. Chris was just hysterically sad. Everyone wait, big smile.
That worked out pretty well because it gave Chris and I the chance to work on a much needed shot list that we needed for the next day. So we were in the next room over and we couldn't get over this. We just heard these sounds coming from the other room and it confused the crap out of us. I mean, it was just so gay. And there was just rubbing and splashing and really we just got so curious we just had to look. So Chris ends up taking a little peek and he is just scarred. He doesn't even want to go out there and I don't know.
Hot tub scene.
Come on. All right, Chris, Wilson, Pistons, here you go.
The hot tub scene was...
Sean, rub the shoulders.
I want some splashing.
George, splashing.
This was probably the greatest acting challenge I have ever had in my life. Actually, I would venture to say I think it's the greatest acting challenge that I think anyone has ever had.
Oh, the hot tub scene. I was thinking, God, they should have opened up the bar at the City Club so this would have been a little more tolerable. Definitely tried to make sure that memory disappeared afterwards.
The hardest part was definitely the hot tub scene. There's 4 hunky guys in a hot tub just playing out to the camera. Were they having a pillow fight too?
I went to Sean and talked to him at the end of the City Club shoot, and he was, didn't have a whole lot of details about what was going to happen. He just, kind of giggled a little bit.
It was definitely a surprise, seeing especially not only just the actors who, by that point, we were all really comfortable with each other, and they're comfortable being goofballs and things like that. But seeing the other producers and the director kind of get in on it too, where we had, Sean, the executive producer, in a Speedo.
See, that was my fantasy.
It was permanently tattooed on my brain and will take years and years of therapy to get rid of.
It was good fun.
It was an enjoyable experience. Sorry, Mom.
In the end, it didn't work out. It was stricken from the movie and put right on the cutting room floor.
Even so, the hot tub scene had a couple unforeseen consequences.
So after the hot tub scene, it was very difficult to get in touch with some of these actors. They wouldn't return our calls. Some of the crew I think they just ended up leaving the state, some of them actually. I don't know. There's some of the rumors going around. They just fled. So we had one last scene to shoot that took place after the final fight battle. And initially this was supposed to be a couple weeks, maybe a month after that battle took place. What we ended up doing was casting my dad as the role of AC, and we had to rework the whole script since we didn't have anybody else. That was kind of one of the problems with the hot tub scene. Caused a little issue, but you know what? I think it was worth it. If you look at the work of the film, look at the work of the hot tub scene, it was all worth it. So what? We lost the actors. We haven't been in contact with them since. Big deal. Who cares about them? Fuck them.
That's pretty much how we made the movie.
The cunt of a woman. That's what you are. Bend over, bitch. Bend over, bitch. Oh, hello. I'm a pony. I'm the pretty pony. No. Kiss the pony. Kiss the fucking pony! Good.